Artifacts. What the heck are they? Where do you even find them? And what on earth do they actually do? Hopefully by the end of this video you will know everything that you need to know about artifacts and why they are so goddamn important to Genshin Impact. So let's get straight into it. What's up guys, I'm RiverFox, welcome back to the channel. Now in today's video we're going to be talking about artifacts and basically what on earth they are, how do you get hold of them, and what do they even do in Genshin Impact. So first things first, what on earth are artifacts? Artifacts are essentially an additional benefit that you can add to your characters which will give you some extra perks to what damage you can do or what healing you can do in the game. Now there are many different types of artifacts. You can get artifacts which will increase your health. You can get artifacts that are going to increase your energy recharge, your pyro damage, your attack speed. You can even get ones that are going to increase your crit damage and your crit rate. So if you are not using artifacts, you are missing out on doing some massive damage, and artifacts can be the determination between either killing those enemies or dying yourself. It all depends on which artifacts you have set, whether they are good artifacts or not, and even if you have leveled them up. Now when you do first start the game, you are not going to have any of these 5-star artifacts, and you will probably not have very many of the 4-star either. But when you very first start, you are probably going to end up with quite a lot of 1-star and possibly some 2-star artifacts. And initially I would probably say in probably the first sort of, until you get to around about AR 5 or even AR 10, artifacts are not that important to you. So you don't need to worry too much initially as you first start. But as you start progressing and increasing your AR level and going up against even stronger enemies in the process, you are going to start to struggle if you are not leveling up your artifacts and if you're not placing the right artifacts in there. So this brings us on to the second question. Where do you even find artifacts? There are many different ways in Genshin Impact that you can come across artifacts, or you can earn them. You can get them from your experience. So in your adventurer's handbook, as you progress through the various different levels, you will get artifacts as rewards. You will get artifacts from completing some quests in the game, from opening chests you will get artifacts. Now you can even get them from domains. There are a few different artifact domains that you can go into. Initially, I would probably say don't bother wasting your resin on these at the moment. Not until you have completed everything else that you need to complete in the game. I wouldn't worry about wasting your resin on the artifact domains. The chances of actually getting decent artifacts from these that you actually want is just so pure pot luck which artifacts you will get, whether they will be good, bad or terrible. So I wouldn't waste your resin on them. But you can also get them from killing enemies as well. You can get them from the Electro Hypostasis. You can even get them from the Animo Hypostasis, the Cryo Regis Vine. You can get it from Dominator of Wolves. You can get it from even your Storm Terror when you are doing those. There are so many different bosses that will give artifacts along the way, and they will probably see you until at least middle to early late game that you will be able to run these with no problem at all. Now this brings us into the third question. What on earth do they actually do? And this is probably the most important part of artifacts. Now with any of the artifacts, they will have a random set of perks to them. You will have 5 different sort of types of artifacts that you will be able to place in for any given character that you use. You will have your flowers, you will have your plumes or your feathers, you will have your timepieces, you have goblets, and you also have crowns. And they will all have a different sort of perk and benefit to them. So just for instance, if we take this particular artifact that I have here on my Diluc, the initial perk that it has is a crit damage. So this will be a really good one to have because you have got additional crit damage to start off. And crit damage is one of the most important elements in an artifact in the game. Now, beneath that, as you level up your artifacts, you will get additional benefits to it. So if we go down here, for instance, to this 2-star artifact, we only have a standard attack damage on it. There are no additional perks to it. If you were to level this up, when you get to level 4, it will unlock a new perk to it. And if we go on to, say, this one, the 3-star, now on this one has got 2 additional perks. So we've got crit damage and defense. And each time you level up, you will add an additional benefit to that. There are so many different ones that you can possibly get. I won't go into every single one. But for the instance of this Diluc, we have a crit damage for our main perk, which is awesome. So every time you level that one up, that crit damage is going to get leveled up each time you level that artifact. So for our additional perks on here, I've got here defense, attack, HP, and crit rate. Now, defense is not the best perk to have. There can be a certain characters that defense will work better on, but as a general rule, defense isn't that great. There's far better ones you can have. The attack is great. HP is always useful because it's going to mean you can take a lot more hits before you die. Crit rate and crit damage, they are like the OP perks to have on any of your artifacts. You've also got things like energy recharge and elemental mastery. They are going to give you an additional benefit in when you're doing combat and you drop those little colored crystals on the floor when you are fighting, well, they are caused by the elemental mastery, and those little crystals, if you pick them up during combat, you can do additional damage with them. So for certain characters, they can be really beneficial as well. But for the instance of this one, the only perk I would say that I'm not quite happy with on this artifact is the defense. I would much prefer that it would have a crit damage on there instead, but we've got the main crit damage at the top. So for now, it's going to work pretty damn well. And again, with any of these artifacts, the more you level them up, the more perks that it will give you, to a total of 4 additional perks. And yeah, they can be random which ones are going to get upgraded. So when you get to level 4, it will unlock a new perk. Level 8, it's going to unlock a new perk. And as you progress further up to, on this one, a 4-star is level 16 is the max that you can level this artifact to. Then you will unlock new ones and you will increase one random perk from within it. So you could get really lucky and it could upgrade the crit rate every single time, or you could get really unlucky and it could upgrade the defense every single time. So it's going to be, it's going to take you a long time to be able to get all of the artifacts that you need perfect setup. Like on this second account that I'm working on here at the moment, I'm only AR 35, so most of my artifacts that I'm using here are still only 4-star artifacts. I do have a couple of 5 stars, but in this one, I've not leveled them up at the moment because they don't have the additional perks that I want on them. When you get an absolutely perfect one, recommend upgrading the 5 stars instead of the 4s. But until then, you can pretty much get through a lot of it with just your 4-star artifacts. Now, one other thing I do want to go through, because there's so many different types of artifacts here, they're all going to have a set bonus to them as well. So you want to try whenever possible to match the set bonuses to the character that you have. Now, in the instance of my Diluc, now he's got the prototype Archaeax, so that gives him additional base attack and base attack on top of that. So for artifacts, you're going to be wanting to try and level up and get artifacts with attack damage in it. Now, I don't have the perfect artifacts on this account yet, so I've got currently a 2-piece set energy recharge and a 2-piece set crit rate. Now, when I do get the artifacts that I need, I will change that energy recharge perk over, and I will select some different artifacts that have got attack damage in there, because that is going to get boosted by the weapon that you've got attached to it as well. So it can be really complicated, and I'm trying not to go too much into depth in it. But let's say, for instance, with Kaching. Now, for her, she has the Black Sword, and she's got a base attack and crit rate on it. So I'm going to want to set artifacts that are going to, benefit those perks that she's got. So I've got her actually with some pretty decent artifacts. I've got a 2-piece set for a crit rate, which increases that crit rate again, and I've got a 2-piece set for the attack, both of which are going to get boosted by the damage which happens from the weapon as well. Now, there are things like talents and that which are going to benefit you as well, but we'll go into that in a separate video so as not to confuse everybody. So the best thing that you can do is to try and find your artifacts that are going to give you the most damage to the enemies, with the character that you are using. So this one, it's got a HP to start. Pretty much majority of flowers do have HP as your main focus. Can't really do anything about that one. But for the additional perks, I've got energy recharge, crit rate, and 2 lots of attacks. So that is a pretty decent artifact there, which is why I've leveled that one up full. So for this next one, I've got attack on the main perk. Brilliant for her, she will do great with the attack. And then we've got energy recharge, crit rate, HP, and defense. Again, it would be better if the defense was another crit damage or another attack, something like that. But for now, it will do a pretty decent job. And for this next one, I haven't leveled this one up yet because the main perk on it is defense, and it's the only one pretty much that I've got that's going to link in with my set bonus of attack. So I need to try and keep that. So I haven't leveled this one up yet. I'm waiting for a better artifact to go in there. Something that's got attack damage or crit rate instead of the defense at the top. For this one, I'm even using a blue artifact on this one, a 3-star, because it's an electric damage bonus and she is an electric character. And I just don't have an epic or legendary version of it to replace it. And all of the other perks that are on there are pretty damn good. So I'm going to keep with the blue one until I get a much better 4 or 5-star one to replace it with. And for the last one here, another really good artifact to have. It's got attack at the top, an additional attack. It's that defense again, but defense is like the annoying one that always gets in there all the time. And we've got energy recharge and elemental mastery as well, so they're pretty decent for her. So that is what the artifacts do. Now the next question is, where do you actually get your artifacts once you've completed everything in the game? like me on, well, not so much on this account, but on my main account, I've completely explored all areas of Genshin Impact. They're 100% explored. I've opened every single chest. I've, killed all bosses and things. So you are, at some point in the game, you are going to run out of places to get artifacts from. But there is a way around it, and I recommend you start doing this as soon as possible. Even if you do not need them now, start doing this on a daily basis. There is a route within Genshin Impact where you can go and farm artifacts, and you can farm them on a daily basis. Now, I have marked out here with the little banner markers on the map all of the locations which I currently know of where you can obtain daily artifacts, and it is called an artifact run. Now, I'm not going to go massively into detail in it in this video because I want to do it in a separate one. This one is already starting to get quite long anyway, so I will do a separate artifact run video. But if you want to take a screenshot of any of these markers to know exactly where they are and how you can obtain these, the artifact run is a daily thing. It will probably take you, say, about half an hour to complete, and once you have completed that, you will get quite a nice little stack. And if you start doing it now and doing it on a daily basis now, then later on when you get up to around about the AR 45 mark, you will need them. Most definitely. You will run out, you will get to the point where you have nothing left to look for, no artifacts left to farm, so these will come in massively handy. So yeah, that is artifacts, that is what they do and how you use them. If you've got any other questions, please feel free to let me know in the comments down below. Apologies, it's such a long video, but I hope it does help you out. I will try and get some more videos out on the artifact run and other things like that to help you out. But I hope you enjoyed, and until the next one, I hope you have a fantastic day. Stay safe, my friends.